Very welcome and friends also. Before we start today, I'm going to just now pass on to John Kelby just to take us through the format of today's proceedings. John?
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon, members, and to Danny, your family and friends. Just a brief word on the protocol, the formality of this afternoon. There are two meetings back to back, both special council meetings. So we open the first meeting and we do the normal roll call of members who are present and also quite a few members who are virtually present. The purpose of the first meeting is for members to make a decision to confer the title. And as a result, I would therefore suggest it's entirely up to yourselves, but perhaps you want to reserve the majority of your comments for the second meeting. Assuming, of course, there is a positive decision from the first meeting, we then close the first meeting, we open the second meeting, and that second meeting then is to confer the title. And of course, the Mayor will guide you through it as always as Chair, but there will be plenty of opportunity then to make speeches or to say whatever you wish at that point. So if you're comfortable enough, Mayor, I'll hand back to you. Thank you.
Hey, thank you. Thank you, members. You're all very welcome here today at this very special occasion, not for the city, not only for the city, but for the whole district. And it's something I've been honoured now as Mayor to do twice, and it's recognising Danny Quiggy. So to move things on, I'm going to move now to Agenda 1, members, and it's passing back to you, John.
Thank you, Mayor, and good afternoon again, members. To all members of Derry City and Strabane District Council, you're hereby summoned to attend a special meeting of the Council, which will be held both in a hybrid format, remotely via WebEx and physically in the Council Chamber in the Guildhall in Derry today, Monday the 23rd of May at 2 o'clock. And starting with the roll call, Alderman Breslin.
Here, John.
Alderman Devaney. Alderman Guy. Alderman Hussey. Alderman Kerrigan. Alderman McCready.
Here, John.
Alderman Ramsey. Alderman Wark.
Here, John.
Councillor Jason Barr. Councillor Raymond Barr. Councillor John Boyle. Councillor Michaela Boyle. Councillor Carr. Just checking, members, if those who are virtually present can hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes. Yes, no problem.
Thank you. Councillor Cusick.
Here.
Councillor Dobbins. Councillor Donnelly. Councillor Doyle. Councillor Duffy. Councillor Edwards.
Here, John.
Councillor Farrell. Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Fleming. Councillor Gallagher.
John.
Councillor Harkin. Councillor Heaney. Councillor Jackson.
Sure, John.
Councillor Kelly. Councillor Logue. Councillor McGinley. Councillor McGowan. Councillor Maguire. Councillor McHugh. Councillor McKeever. Councillor McKinney. Councillor Mooney.
John.
Councillor O'Neill. Councillor Riley.
Here, John.
Councillor Senoy Barr. And Councillor Tierney.
Here, John.
Thank you, members. To you, Mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, John. Thank you, members. Okay, members, moving on. The agenda-free broadcast statement. So I'd like to remind everyone in remote attendance that this meeting is broadcast live through the Council YouTube channel, so it'll be available for viewing for the public and media. The broadcast will also be available for repeated viewing at a later date. The broadcast may be terminated or suspended in accordance with council protocol, and members and approved speakers are reminded to only have their mics and cameras on while speaking at the meeting and use chat facilities to highlight the request to speak. By participating in this meeting, you're consenting being filmed and the use of storage of those images for broadcast and training purposes and for the purpose of keeping historic records and making those records available to the public. A copy of the council privacy notice may be found on the council webpage. Okay, members, agenda 4, it's the declaration of members' interest. So, anybody on the WebEx can raise them now on the chat box, and if members here in the chamber are happy enough? All happy? Okay, members, agenda 5, chairperson's business. There's no chairperson's business today. And moving on to agenda 6, it's the consider the conferring of the freedom of the Derry City and Strabane District to Mr. Danny Quigley. So I'm going to pass on now to Ellen. Ellen?
Through you, Mayor, and good afternoon, elected members, ladies and gentlemen. As already indicated, the purpose of this meeting is to consider and to make a decision on the motion to confer the Freedom of the City and District Award on Mr. Danny Quigley. Members are reminded that at the council meeting held on the 25th of November 2021, the following motion was approved by council. That this council recognises the incredible achievement of local man Danny Quigley in completing 10 Ironman challenges in 10 days, raising over £100,000 for local charities and promoting positive mental health through physical activity. This council then was called upon to hold a special meeting. Council has the authority to confer the freedom of the city and district in accordance with the Local Government Transitional, Incidental, Consequential and Supplemental Provisions Regulations Northern Ireland 2015. And specifically, I would highlight to those in attendance today that the award of the freedom of the city and district is the highest level of civic award given in recognition of an individual, and that a special resolution of council is required under legislation to confer the freedom of the city and district to any individual. I'd also highlight today that given the ongoing impact of COVID-19, this meeting is being held in a hybrid format and subject to the council meeting resolving to confer the freedom of the city and district on the council of the area. The conferment ceremony will take place at a further special meeting of council immediately after this meeting. This will be followed by photographs and a civic reception hosted by the mayor. The award itself will be accepted in person by Mr. Danny Quigley, and a number of his family and friends are here today in the Guildhall Chamber. In terms of the recommendations in front of members for consideration, the recommendation is that council makes a special resolution in respect of conferring the freedom of the city and district on Mr. Danny Quigley, and subject to the views of members, that the council then proceeds to the conferment of the award. Thank you, members.
Thank you for that, Ellen. Okay, members. Councillor Jackson.
Well, good, Mayor. Mayor, can I thank yourself for, on the back of the motion, for holding this special meeting, and I want to pay a particular welcome to Danny and Danny's friends and family. And I'm going to keep it brief at this point, Mayor, and say that I propose that we as a council confer the freedom of Derry City and Strabane District to Mr. Danny Quigley. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Councillor Jackson. Alderman McCready.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to second that motion. Thank you.
Thank you, members. Okay. We have a proposer and seconder. All happy. So that brings us now to the close of the first meeting. And we're going to close it. We're just going to take a few minutes here now until we just prepare for the second part of this. Thank you, members. Okay, members, welcome back to the second part of this very special meeting today. We're not going to go through agenda 1, 2, or 3, or 4. We've been through them in the first part, and we're now open to discussion for Danny Quigley. Danny, I had the honour of meeting you this year and the first time, and it was obviously through the 10 airmen. I couldn't believe it, to be honest. But what you done, you brought a city together during a very difficult time. We were all coming out of the COVID, but down at the Foyle Embankment, DC, coming on that 10th run, I think it was the third one. It was a Sunday night, and I remember you were coming on, and I was very worried that you weren't going to attempt it. But what you've done, you brought a city together, and you've raised a lot of money for charities. And I see a number of them up there, and I'd like to welcome you all here today to the chamber. Danny, this award you're getting is very special, and you deserve it more than anybody. And I'm honoured to be here as mayor. Sitting beside you. I want to thank Councillor Jackson too for bringing the motion forward as well. But Danny, very well deserved on freedom of the city, and what you're doing is absolutely amazing. I've been a lot of events now through mental health, and Danny's been along with the many your clubs, these schools there, and it's obviously a major problem. But I know every penny there helps, so it does. So well done to you. Well done to everybody behind the Danny Quigley Foundation. And really, don't come up with another 20 Ironmen or something out there. I don't know how we're going to do it, but I look forward to your next mission. And it's great to have your family here today too. So it is. So members, what I'm going to do, I'm going to open up the floor and I see Councillor Jackson and Mantovani. So Councillor Jackson.
Good, Mayor, and want to pay a particular welcome to Danny, and it was an honour. They bring a motion in front of council. They confer the freedom of the city to Danny. They recognise the fantastic achievement that the 10 and 10 was. But as the mayor has outlined, it was a very dark time for our city, and what Danny had done was bring people together, to give people hope during a very dark time. The challenges of mental health right across our city and district has been well rehearsed, and what Danny done, he shone a light on a very dark place, and our city has been crying out for a mental health champion for such a long time, and by doing the 10 and 10, which was a fantastic achievement in itself, and raising a huge amount of money to support people in need, was a fantastic achievement. But what Danny has done since then, around being a spokesperson, a champion for those that are struggling with their mental health, is almost as remarkable, or it is as remarkable as the 10 and 10. And I suppose that the highest honour that this council can award on any individual is the freedom of the city. And it's only right that we acknowledge the achievement of yourself, Danny, by doing just that. But it does seem that it's not enough, because the whole city and district are immensely proud of you, Danny, and what you've achieved and what you're continually striving for. And we're all immensely proud of what you've achieved. We're all immensely proud of the motivation behind it. And I have no doubt that your entire family are just as proud, or even more proud than we are. So this is a fantastic event to be at. It's our opportunity to say thanks to you and recognise what you've achieved. But I hope that it's the first of many events that you're involved in promoting positive mental health amongst everybody in our city and district, because it's something that as a society we've been really crying out for such a long time. So I want to congratulate you on being awarded the Freedom of the City, and I look forward to seeing your work in promoting positive mental health right across our district in the years and months and years ahead. So thanks, Danny, and it's really great to be part of this today. Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you for the kind words, Councillor Jackson. Alderman Devaney.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me in, and can I welcome Danny and his family circle to the chamber here. And can I just, on behalf of the DUP, congratulate you on what is about to be conferred to you today, one of the highest awards the city and district can hand you today. And I just want to go back on your charitable work and the work that you've done. The rest of the previous speaker have said you've brought people together, and I think that has to be commended as well. And yes, coming through a very, very difficult time. As the previous speaker talked about mental health, we've been trying to deal with mental health now for decades, and it's good we have a young man like yourself coming through to shine that torch for people who are having difficulties with mental health, and look, be a voice for them as well. But once again, congratulations on you, well deserved today, and I wish you all the best in your endeavours and look forward to seeing your endeavours as you move forward from here. But once again, congratulations from myself and the party. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you for that, Alderman Devaney. Alderman McCready.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Danny, family and your friends, it gives me a great privilege to sit here and address you all now in what is a momentous occasion for you and your family. So lap it up, enjoy it, because it is all about you in this case. And I'm glad to be wholeheartedly endorse this accolade that you have. You know, the freedom of the city and district is the highest you can get. So hopefully that matches what you've physically done. I know it may not seem as much now when you're going through 10 Ironman, 10 days, £100,000, which are all, you know, really impressive numbers. And everybody in the city and district are in absolute awe of you. So not only those numbers that I just mentioned, Danny, it's the sheer level of your personal discipline that really struck a chord with me. Your physical application, that determination, and the stamina that you've shown. Now, knowing full well your motivations of where this has came from, you know, it gives me that level of humbleness that you're here with us today. And it just doesn't stop here in this chamber. It's city and district. There's a lot of people out there that are looking up to you. So even though the hard work is done, the hard miles are done, you now have got this accolade, and responsibility comes with that. So your work is not fully done yet, and you have more to do. And we in this council will support you in doing that. Because you are now a role model, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart. You are a role model just not only for me, that I do look up to you, and when I see your stuff and your activities online, it gives me an extra bit of encouragement to get up during the day and apply myself the same way that you do. But when I look further online and speak with people on the streets, they're looking up to you as a role model. So when you leave here today, you're fully endorsed as a role model to keep doing everything that you're doing for the good causes of mental health, the suicide awareness, the prevention, and all the other good causes which are so worthwhile that you know more so than most in this chamber. You have my full support. I wish you the very, very best in everything you do in life, Danny. Well done.
Thank you, Alderman McCready. Councillor Mooney.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you for allowing me to speak. I think on this point, I'm going to say some words, but I think my colleague, Councillor Tierney, is going to say something afterwards. I mean, in November, I had the pleasure and the privilege of speaking on behalf of our party in relation to the motion. As Danny knows, I know Danny a long time through triathlon circles, but it was a pleasure for me because knowing Danny as a friend and as somebody who undertook this challenge in August of last year, those 10 days and those 10 Ironman that he did, it was and being down there and watching him do it and remembering back on that and remembering the good days and more so the dark days that were there, because to do that challenge and for 10 days and to do that length of activity, your body can hold up, but It's essentially and uniquely a mental challenge, a mental battle that competitors like Danny have to undertake. And those 10 days, I watched them ebb and flow, but in those 10 days, it was a wonderful experience for me to watch because it truly was a massive feat of spirit and endurance, especially given the circumstances we run during COVID and the pandemic and what the city and district had to go through and further afield. But for somebody to undertake and encapsulate that spirit, that body of that time, mould it into a situation of doing 10 Ironman, nearly a 4-mile swim or 3.4-kilometre swim, 110-mile bike ride every day, followed by a marathon. To do one is uniquely a mental task, but to do 10 in a row is simply just mind-boggling. On behalf of on behalf of me, personally speaking, on behalf of our party, the SDLP, I just want to acknowledge your contribution and your continuing service to our city and district, and keep up the good work because people like you is what a city and district needs. People of your caliber and of your service, and please continue to keep it going. Thank you, Danny.
Thank you. Before I bring Brian on, Councillor Hargan? Do you want to go ahead, Brian? Just keeping the list here.
Problem. Thank you, Mayor, for letting me in. And first of all, I want to welcome Danny and his family and friends to the Chamber. And you're fully deserving of this award, Danny. And congratulations from myself and from People Before Profit on your reception of it. And I mean, this is the second one of these I've been at this year. And the other one was for a healthcare worker. And I would see you as a mental health champion. And I think it's telling that often it's the great and the good that receive these awards for freemen of the city, and the district, which is huge. As others have said, there isn't a higher award and accolade that the council can bestow on anyone. And I think it tells you something about the times that we're in, that it's a healthcare worker and yourself that are receiving this award. And I think it's absolutely right. And you're spotlighting the exact things that need to have a spotlight on right now. As you are well aware, I mean, this council has declared a mental health crisis, and we do that reluctantly, and that's because of the scale of the problem that we're facing. And there's no doubt that the pandemic and the cost of living crisis aren't going to help matters, but we aren't sitting back, and people like yourself aren't sitting back. There's something we can actually do about this. And I think that your own personal story, I think, has had a huge impact on people. Because it gives people a sense of possibility, maybe stiffens people's resolve, gives people a bit of hope. You've done that, and you've massively raised awareness around the mental health challenges that people face, and you've raised a lot of money to help organisations that are trying to do something. So for all them reasons, that's why you deserve this award. I mean, I would have said you should, just by doing the 10 Ironman challenge in and of itself, you should have got an award. But everything else on top of that, I mean, just means that you're ultra deserving of it. And look, you've already done so much, to be quite honest. If you don't do another thing, you're still fully deserving of this award. But I know that you're planning to do more, and hopefully receiving this award here today will encourage you to do more and will encourage other people as well. So congratulations, Danny, and enjoy this. And, thanks for all the work that you've done.
Thank you, Councillor Hargan. Councillor Turney?
Thank you, Mayor, for bringing me in, and also want to welcome Danny and his family and friends here today. Alderman McCready said during his speaking notes that you've inspired him to live his life with your mindset. But if your mindset is to do 10 Ironmen in 10 days, Danny, with the greatest of respect, I don't. I really don't. Having the mental capacity to be able to do that, I think, is absolutely incredible. And I've watched on social media how you captured the imagination of this entire city and district and further afield with the promotion on social media. From day 1 to day 10, there was just more and more views, more and more comments, and people were actually buying into what you were doing. But equally, as a city and district, worried about the impact that would have on you and your body. But I think the greatest impact that this is going to have is the amount of money that you have raised, the impact that will have across the city and district. We will never ever be able to measure. And I think that's
A credit to you, a credit to your family, and a credit to the Bogside and Brandywell Health Forum who supported you, stood with you, and encouraged you right throughout that very, very difficult journey. The Freedom of the City, in my view, is one of the highest awards that anyone in this city will ever get. And if you look at the list of people who've got it, they've all done incredible things. I think you and your family and us as a wider community should be very proud that we're adding your name to that list today. Danny, keep doing what you're doing, but please be careful with what your next challenge is, because as a city, I think we're all very frightened of what that may be. It's really, really impressive, but it's really impressive, I think, with the amount of support that you were able to garner throughout the wider community. And as I've said, the money, the impact that will have on people's lives, I think is really, really impressive. Fair play, Danny, and well done. And thank you very much.
Thank you, Councillor Attorney. Alderman Hussey.
Thank you, Mayor. Danny, you're extremely welcome to this chamber and your family and friends. I'm thinking on a couple of words or a phrase that Councillor Harkin used. He talked about the great, the good. I think what we've seen in this chamber of late is a redefining of what is great and what is good. And an example of it sits in front of us at this moment in time. A couple have talked about inspiring. I'm going to, first of all, consider what you've done. And it wasn't just 10 days. I know that because, 33 years ago, a 40-year-old was encouraged to run his first marathon. But it took, I would say, a year and a half before that 40-year-old did that marathon. And you know that. It's all of those training runs, the short runs and the weekly long run and the build-up. And I can't imagine what sort of hell you went through to get to that stage of saying, right, I think I can do this. But you did it. And it's not just a physical challenge. And I know that you're talking the marathon about reaching the wall at 21, 22 miles, whatever. And there are others in the chamber have been there. But, the other events along with it, and to do it 10 times. Mayor referred to seeing you finishing your third one and worrying. But you did it. And it wasn't just the physical challenge that you overcame. There's a mental challenge in that. There's a point where your strength, your mental strength, took you through to the end, and you completed the course, or should I say courses, every time. And for that, you are extremely well deserved of what the city and district are bestowing on you. But I've listened to others in the chamber as to what you have done since. You have not laid back on your laurels. And as a person from a family who have been involved in mental health, from their working side, nursing side, etc., and indeed having had suicide in the family, can I thank you from the bottom of my heart for what you are now doing. Well done, well deserved.
Thank you, Alderman Hussey. Councillor Duffy.
Thank you, Mayor, for allowing me in. And could I just echo what everybody else has said? Danny, you are very welcome, and your family and friends are also very welcome here. And congratulations to you and what you have achieved. I suppose I first met you, and I think it was day 7. And I couldn't believe that you were still standing. I probably still don't understand the impact of an Ironman, never mind 10 Ironman, but the achievement was unreal. When I went down to the quay that day and you were coming in, and there was nearly a carnival atmosphere of people who had come together to cheer you on, and they were from all across the city and district, and there was that atmosphere there that we hadn't seen in so long. So there was that bringing people together and bringing people out on a joyous journey with yourself. I mean, it maybe didn't feel as joyous to you on day 7 as it did to the rest of us, but it certainly gave me that inspiration. I think from seeing the work that has been able to take place in the Bogside and Brandywell Health Forum as a result of the funds that you have raised, that has had just such a huge impact. The work that they do is amazing, and your contribution to that work is, I mean, that in itself is just such an achievement. But since then, since I met you on day 7, I have met you since that at other events where you have been that champion, you have been that voice for people who have been going through mental health crises, being that voice for what we actually need in the city and district to try and address some of those issues. Because we can sit in rooms like this and we can look at what's needed, but sometimes you need that voice of somebody who has been through the journey, who has had the impact to tell us, right, this is the reality and this is what we need. And I've been in rooms with you where you have been able to articulate that. So I think that and that the continuation of that is part of your legacy. I suppose in terms of the freedom of the city, any that I have been to have been for people who are at the end of their career or, you know, retired. It's brilliant to be here with you as a young man who is still striving to do more and still striving to, you know, have that impact. I don't know where we're going to go from here, but I just want to congratulate you on that. I think that we're all very proud of you as a citizen of this city and district. And I suppose your family are immensely proud as well. And I would say that your father is immensely proud as well. So I just want to congratulate you on the achievement today. It is very, very well deserved.
Well, it's lovely. Thank you, members. Any kind words for Danny? Danny Quigley. It gives me great honour to sit here as mayor of this beautiful city and district and present you with this. And to reflect, I remember in the mayor's parlour just prior to that, he came in to me and he was telling me about the 10 Ironman challenge. And really, I think it's when he left the parlour, I actually sat down and worked out what Danny was on about and nearly died. And as I said, on that Sunday, it was a Sunday night, Danny came on, and my heart sunk when I seen Danny. So it did, and the legs were given, you could just see he was completely drained. But for some reason, the times just got faster and faster. The crowds built up, the money was just building up at that stage. And the biggest thing sticks out to me, Danny, was the video that came out there and you coming down through the city with a vehicle behind you with the tiger. Like that, I don't think there's a dry eye anybody watched that. The motivation you give and they see you come in, and I was proud to stand with your family, of my young family there, and you had a whole city from every corner, every community there. At the night coming in was absolutely amazing. So it was, and what you've done, Danny, since that, on my little journey as mayor, Danny's always been at a lot of events, along with the Bogside Brandywell Health Forum, and it's promoting something good and something the city needs, and especially now more than ever with the mental health problems, especially the education, what's going out there. Danny, keep it up and keep what you're doing. But members, it gives me a great honour now to give Danny Quigley the freedom of Derry City and Strabane District Council recognition of his completion of 10 Ironman in 10 days, raising over £100,000. And I know it's not £100,000 now, it's a lot more money in that account for local charities and promoting positive mental health, free physical activity. So members, a big round of applause, please. Ready for that? I know Danny loves he can speak here, Danny. I'm going to give you 15 minutes of speaking. Is that okay? So I'm going to pass on to Danny now. Danny.
All right, everybody. Don't really know where to start. Just like to sort of, first of all, just say thanks. Not for making this happen, just for being here now. So everybody who's took the time to come here, all these faces, that's what I care about, you know. All your faces, I'll remember them. So will every one of you. That to me means a lot. Forget about everything else. Well, that means so much. All of you being here, and it's a moment that I'll really treasure. But the 10 and 10. Gee, I don't know what happened. Whenever I started it, it was something that I was going to do in memory of my daddy. You know, that's the way I did it. If there had been 10 people there at the finish, if there had been thousands, I did it for my dad. And I think like it's important to sort of realize that mental health problems, it doesn't matter if you're sat here on the dole or if you're sat here making millions, if you're Catholic or Protestant, doesn't really matter. You can't hide. And I think that's the message that I was trying to get across. It doesn't matter who you think you are. You can't hide from it. I've wrote out a speech, so I'll go to that now, right? So this is a huge honor, difficult to fathom, really. Never did I expect to be awarded something so limited and meaningful. It's not every day a fitness instructor gets given freedom in the city. Thank you, Derry and Strabane City Council, for being so considerate as to think of me for this honor. And of course, thank you to everyone that helped me along in this journey, my friends, family, Bogside and Brandywell Health Forum, and everyone that put their hands in their pockets and raised funds for suicide awareness. This award is for everyone that's ever been affected by suicide or that's ever been harmed from mental health issues. I know I've done my father proud. And to everyone out there who's lost someone due to suicide, know that you too have done them proud. This is only the first step. Our city has a long way to go before we can heal the streets, estates, and the rivers. But the first step is always the hardest. I urge everyone, please, to keep talking, keep shouting, keep raising awareness. Together, we will lift the shame and destigmatize this common affliction. Thank you all. Stay safe, everyone. Keep your head up.
Thank you, Danny. Well done, members. Well done, Danny. Members, I'm now going to bring this meeting to a close. Just a reminder, there's refreshments in the Whittaker's suite downstairs. Everybody's more than welcome to come down. So the meeting's closed.